Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Chantel Smith. I'm the Assistant Director of Recruitment and Inclusive Communities in the Honors College at UMD. And on behalf of the Honors College, congratulations again on your acceptance to UMD and your invite to the Honors College. We're so excited to have you. So this week, as many of you know, we've been offering a chance to hear from the students and staff who represent our 8 unique programs. So we're hoping like this helps, the information that you learn helps you as you decide which programs most interest you so that you can complete your program preferencing form by the February 19th deadline. So in tonight's session, we're about to learn more about our cybersecurity program called ACES. And then later on, we'll learn about our integrated life sciences program. So while we encourage you to send in your questions to the chat, we kindly ask that you hold them until the end, since there's a chance your questions may be addressed during the presentation. We'll open it up for Q&A after it's all over. And that way you'll be able to start chatting with our students. So to kick things off, I'll pass it over so you can learn more about ACES.
Awesome. Thanks, Chantel. And welcome everybody to our online chat tonight. My name is Cassie Harrington. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Associate Director of the ACES program. And I'm excited to talk with you a little bit about one of your potential options as you preference living learning programs. So ACES is an acronym. It stands for Advanced Cybersecurity Experience for Students. Everybody refers to it as ACES because the full title is a little bit of a mouthful. And we focus primarily on cybersecurity. So what is cybersecurity? Essentially, it is an evolving set of tools and risk management strategies and approaches, different technology, different trainings, and a variety of best practices designed to protect our systems, networks, devices, and data from attacks, damage, or unauthorized access. So it is both large and individual user. Cybersecurity impacts every field. Everybody that has a computer, a cell phone, an online bank account, right, needs cybersecurity. Our alumni do a variety of jobs in cybersecurity. They're software engineers, they're business analysts, they're researchers, they're cybersecurity advisors, they're consultants. They do technology development, they work in finance, they work with our corporate partners, who we'll talk a little bit more about later. Northrop Grumman, NSA. They also work at places like Microsoft and Tesla and Facebook and Amazon. So anywhere there's cybersecurity happening, you may stumble upon one of our ACES alums. The ACES program was founded in fall 2013. It is the first honor cybersecurity program in the nation, which is very exciting. So when you join the ACES program and you earn your ACES citation, you become a part of a very rich and exciting history of honor cybersecurity. It is a multidisciplinary approach to cybersecurity. So when we say multidisciplinary, what we mean is it's open to all majors. Anybody with any background, any major at the University of Maryland that's coming in can consider the ACES program. We think it's really important to have a diverse array of majors in our program so that you can learn about the ways that cybersecurity impacts all types of different fields. ACES is a 2+2 program. So we're going to focus primarily talking about the ACES Living Learning Program tonight, because that's what you'll be preferencing when you complete your preferencing form if you choose ACES. We do also have our ACES Minor. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between those two things. So our ACES Living Learning Program is designed for first and second year students coming into the university. It is a 15 credit curriculum. We'll talk more about the curriculum in just a little bit. The ACES Minor is another opportunity for students to continue their cybersecurity education. It's a 16 to 17 credit curriculum that is primarily for sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So you can't apply to the ACES Minor right now, but if you join the ACES LLP and you're thinking about pursuing cybersecurity further, you're certainly welcome to complete both the Living Learning Program and the Minor. So some students do just the LLP on campus, some students do just the ACES Minor, and some students complete both of those programs. We have approximately 158 Living Learning Program students and approximately 154 minor students, and we are welcoming approximately 75 students to each of those programs in any given academic year. So ACES provides a curricular and co-curricular opportunity for a community of diverse students to explore the cybersecurity workforce, develop your leadership skills, and become innovators in cybersecurity through a variety of different applied experiences and experiential learning opportunities. That's great, and it's important. But I also want you to hear from some former ACES students about what they think about the program.
ACES. ACES is the Advanced Cybersecurity Experience for Students. Students get hands-on experience with technical and non-technical aspects of cybersecurity. They have access to experts in the field and learn skills that cybersecurity companies look for. But what do the students think? What is ACES?
ACES is an opportunity. Funky fresh.
Living in the best dorm on campus.
Amazing.
Community.
Engaging.
Family.
Organic.
Turning your friends into memes.
Wholesome.
Staying up late just to talk to friends.
Fashionable.
A family.
A struggle. Together.
Out of this world.
Spicy.
Suave. Fluffy. Innovative. 3 a.m. pizza runs. A lifestyle.
Great.
ACES is me, and I am ACES.
ACES is in me, and I am an ACES.
The moon.
Happy.
A supportive and fun community.
All right, so they told you a little bit about what ACES means to them. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the unique opportunities that we have within the ACES program. The first are opportunities related to leadership. So we have several great leadership experiences, including our ACES student board. So there are several positions for both first and second year students on our ACES student board. They are elected positions, so you can nominate yourself or someone else to potentially join the board, and then those students are elected to the board by their peers. And they choose to host a variety of different educational and social programs throughout the year that are in the interest of the community. So you can apply to join that board, be elected, and do some of that really excellent programming work. We also have teaching assistant opportunities. These are folks that have taken ACES coursework, have done well in those courses, and then return to the courses to help the next generation of students through that experience. We also have some really excellent coursework. I'll touch on that in just a minute. It is, again, multidisciplinary. There are a lot of fields that intersect with cybersecurity, and so we try to touch on a variety of those. Our curriculum includes foundation courses, seminars, and experiential learning opportunities. ACES also has a variety of unique internships and research experience. All ACES students are required to complete experiential learning, either in the form of an internship and reflection course or undergraduate research in cybersecurity. Each year, to make that process a little bit easier, we have our ACES Career Fair, where our corporate partners join us to talk about the different internship opportunities that exist at their organizations or full-time job opportunities as you get a little bit closer to graduation. We also have an annual research fair where we pull together faculty across campus who are doing research related to cybersecurity and are hoping to work with undergraduate students so that you can, number one, figure out what cybersecurity research really means on campus and potentially identify a faculty member that you might want to work with in completing your experiential learning. We have a very engaged group of corporate partners in the ACES program. They participate not just in our career fair, but also in our Cyber Connect mentoring program, where students can apply to be paired one-to-one or two-to-one with a workforce professional from some of our partner organizations. And then you can really get kind of an insider scoop about what the cybersecurity workforce is like, what jobs are out there, potentially some resume or interview tips. So the Cyber Connect mentoring program is a really cool opportunity to get a closer look at the field of cybersecurity. Our corporate partners also serve as course instructors, so you're getting a real world experience built into the curriculum, things that are pertinent not just, historically in cybersecurity, but also present day skills that you'll really need to learn. And our corporate partners also come in for different professional development events, career panels, potentially resume or interview workshops. So you'll see a lot of them as a part of the ACES program. And last but certainly not least, the ACES program has a wonderful, engaged community. As I mentioned, the student board is involved in a variety of different social, educational, and professional development planning opportunities. The ACES program and our staff team puts on some additional opportunities throughout the year. Currently, in the spring semester, we have a series of tech talks where we have workforce professionals come in and present on hot topics in cybersecurity. And we also work closely with some other campus partners to build community in cybersecurity across campus. So we have a collaborative effort with the Cybersecurity Club on campus, as well as the Women in Cybersecurity Club. I promised we'd talk a little bit more about the ACES LLP coursework. So the ACES LLP citation does require you to complete 15 credits of coursework and earn a 3.2 cumulative GPA. That 15 credits of coursework is in kind of 3 different types of courses. The first are our foundation courses, HACS 100, HACS 101, and HACS 200. You take those courses together as a cohort with the other students who enter the program at the same time as you. These courses are designed to provide you with a strong foundation of technical and non-technical skills related to cybersecurity. So you're going to learn things about cybersecurity ethics, and you'll also learn how to use Unix as a part of that coursework. Our seminars, you'll complete 2 seminars for a total of 6 credits. Those are an opportunity for you to get more depth into areas of cybersecurity that are interesting to you. So you choose 2 that are kind of most interesting topically. We have courses related to policy, to accounting and economic aspects of cybersecurity, reverse engineering, incident handling, and methods for solving and not solving puzzles. There are also a few courses that are not listed here. We have a course in digital forensics and a new course in cyber communications that are coming online as well. So you have a variety of different options to kind of choose your own adventure a little bit and customize that curriculum to what you are hoping for. And last but certainly not least, as I mentioned, all students need to complete 3 credits of experiential learning. You either complete an internship related to cybersecurity and then the corresponding reflection course, or you complete undergraduate research in cybersecurity in order to earn those experiential learning credits. So total of 15 credits, 6 credits of foundation courses, 6 credits of seminars, and 3 credits of experiential learning. As I mentioned, we do have that committed corporate partner group. Our partners include Northrop Grumman, NSA, Peraton, Cisco Talos, and Boeing. And so again, these folks are participating in the mentoring. They are serving as course instructors. They are offering internship opportunities to our ACES students. They're very involved in helping you all to build professional skills as you progress through the ACES program so that you are employable as you graduate and move on to the next steps. Our ACES students live in Prince Frederick Hall. I would be remiss if I didn't shout out Prince Freddie. It opened in August 2014. It includes student residential space, ACES offices, our Northrop Grumman Cybersecurity Lab, and several classrooms where you would complete your ACES LLP coursework. ACES students are required to live in Prince Frederick for 2 years while they complete the LLP curriculum, so that's a very important part of our experience. We do have that 2-year live-on requirement. We also have some space elsewhere on campus. In August of 2021, we opened our ACES North space. This space includes classrooms, staff offices, and both individual and group study space. There are a variety of ACES courses that are offered, primarily ACES minor coursework that are offered in that classroom, but we regularly have both LLP and minor students interacting in this space in the John S. Toll Physics Building. All right. That is probably sufficient in terms of me just sharing an overview of the ACES program. Now I'm happy to introduce you to the real stars of the show. We have some excellent current ACES students who are here to chat a little bit with you about the ACES Living Learning Program, what it's like to be a student in the ACES LLP. So I will start to turn it over to them, and then we'll open it up for some questions. Amanda, you are the first one on my screen. Do you want to kick us off with a short introduction?
Sure. So ACES is a living learning program, and you stay in Prince Frederick, which is a wonderful dorm for 2 years. You have classes, a lot of the ACES classes are in the first floor of the dorm, so it's very convenient, especially since a lot of them are morning classes.
I mean, did you also want to share like your year and major in the ACES LLP?
Yeah, I'm a CS and math double major, and I'm a freshman.
Perfect, thanks. Emmanuel, you are up next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Ojamo. I am an accounting major. I'm a senior. I'm living in Prince Frederick as one of its resident assistants. And then is there one more part or?
I think you're good for now.
Yeah.
There'll be certainly more things to share in just a minute. Sai, over to you for a quick intro.
Yeah, hi, my name is Sai. I'm a CS and math double major. I'm a first year student in the ACES program, and yeah.
Excellent. Hershey, wrap us up with some intros.
Hi, I'm Hershita. I also go by Hershey. I'm on the ACES student board as your education chair. And my favorite thing about Prince Frederick, oh, I'm a sophomore CS major. Sorry, forgot about that one. And my favorite thing about Prince Frederick is its lounges.
A good choice. Okay, so start getting those questions in, folks. It looks like we have our first one here in the chat, which is what kind of research topics have students pursued in the past? Have any of y'all done research? Maybe not quite yet.
I can take this one. So I did research last summer with one of our hacks professors, which is the class that we have here as a part of our LLP curriculum. And it was Professor Harry. He invited me to do research with him on the cyber events database, which is actually the largest cyber events database in the world now, I believe, since it's been ongoing for about a decade. And we assessed risk all summer, and we got our work featured in the European Central Bank's annual review, which I'm really proud of. But yeah, that was just a little bit about my experience.
Awesome. Thanks, Hershey. Some other projects that ACES students have engaged in. We've had projects related to equity and inclusion in cybersecurity and cybersecurity education. We've had research that was completed through UMD's Breaker Space with Dr. Dave Levin. Our director, Dr. Michelle Cuquier, does a lot of research on both supply chain cybersecurity and also social chatbots and cybersecurity. So there are any number of research projects happening across campus related to cybersecurity that you can explore, some of which are highly technical, some of which have a more policy focus, some of which have a more human-computer interaction focus. So no shortage of potential projects there. Can you all talk a little bit about what made you join ACES as compared to other honors programs?
Yeah, I can take this one. So coming into UMD, I was pretty interested in cybersecurity, but beyond just like cybersecurity, as a CS major, I was really just like interested in like all things computing and like wanted to like learn more about like how that kind of like affects the world around us and what are like the different like applications, I guess, if you will, of like computer science and like the things that we learn. And one really good thing about cybersecurity is this is a place where you can see a lot of the knowledge that you learn like in your classes like shine. Um, it's very applicable and it's very like extremely hands-on, which has helped me a lot because I'm a very hands-on person and I love working with things. So like in our classes, we have weekly labs that we get to do where we get to work with current technology in order to like do projects that are like similar to what like a cybersecurity expert would be doing in like a typical day-to-day job. And then additionally, the corporate partners are really helpful. ACES has like its own specialized career fair, which allows you to get like some one-on-one contact with recruiters and representatives of different corporate partners, and allows you to like learn more about what they're looking for in terms of internships and jobs, and in a way kind of like gets you a little like of a leg up over your competition, because now you have like a better idea of like what they're looking for, what they want, and how you can best offer them value for their company.
I can go next. So the reason I picked the ACES program was because of the coursework mainly, and also because cybersecurity is an increasingly relevant field nowadays, where IoT devices have become common and basically every company needs some level of cybersecurity. So, as someone who is looking into the future, I believe that learning about it now will help me later. Even if I don't go to work directly in cybersecurity, it offers my resume and just my portfolio a little bit of an edge. And I also came to ACES for the opportunities. We are connected with so many different types of professionals and experts in the field that can help us get internships or research opportunities, and just networking in general is a big part of ACES, I think.
So as a reminder to folks, as we segue to our next question, please put your questions in the Q&A area, not directly into the chat, so that we can see those coming through. We're trying to go in some like semblance of order and make sure that everybody gets their questions answered. That helps us to keep track of them just a little bit. So in the Q&A portion, not the chat, for any questions that you might have, please. How many of the 15 credits for the ACES LLP will also satisfy Gen Ed requirements? And the short answer to this is HACS 200 satisfies Gen Ed requirements. So of the foundation courses, that one has some Gen Ed designations. And then almost all of the ACES seminars, those 208 courses, have some kind of Gen Ed designation as well. I'm going to drop a link into the chat in just 1 second, where folks can explore the LLP curriculum, and it also describes specifically which Gen Ed designations those 208 seminars have. So if you're thinking about one that you think is most interesting, you could see what the Gen Ed designations are on that webpage. So I'll drop that into the chat in just a second. And we'll keep it moving. All right, can you live with another student from another living learning program if their program doesn't require them to live in theirs? So unfortunately, our ACES community is filling up all of our available space in Prince Frederick Hall, so you are required to live with other Prince Frederick Hall students. We may be able to make some accommodations with specific permissions for students in DCC or IBH who are also housed in Prince Frederick, but if there are other living learning programs that have or that you wanted to room with somebody who's in one of those programs, unfortunately, we probably would not be able to accommodate that, just given the space requirements of ACES students. Okay. Are most students computer science or computer engineering majors? The short answer is most, but not all. Hershey, go ahead. I saw you on mute.
No, most students are CS majors and like engineering majors, but we do have a lot of students who are not. I'm friends with a lot of students who are interested in doing like history majors or even a double major in something that's different. I personally am doing astronomy as well. So don't worry, we're not just all CS majors. We are open to others joining us as well.
Yeah, just to like add on to that, I will say like, ACES is obviously like a more like technical minded program. So like obviously like, like we're open to everyone and we want everyone to join as long as you're like interested and like passionate about ACES and what it has to offer. Um, and one thing that does like kind of is like a soft requirement is like being comfortable with technology, being comfortable with like the technical aspects to a certain extent. But like as long as you are like comfortable with that, like I'd say like the barrier for entry is like fairly low. You just have to be willing to learn and be willing to try new things and like explore different stuff that you may not have been exposed to otherwise.
And I'll add on, the foundation courses are designed in a way that you don't need prior cybersecurity experience. So as long as you are willing to learn those technical aspects and the non-technical aspects, we'll give you the tools that you need through that coursework. Right. What does a typical ACES schedule look like over the 2 years, including the foundation courses, the seminars, and the experiential learning credits?
I can try to answer this one. Um, since a lot of students are computer science and I am not, I won't try to go into that, but you're trying to manage, in general, you're trying to manage your own like major courses, the prerequisites for it, and then combine that with the foundational courses. So when you're freshman in your fall do 100, the next semester 101, and then fall your sophomore year, you'll do tax 200. After that, sometimes because the seminar classes are very small, sometimes it's hard for freshmen in their first semester here to get a seminar. So usually it's like the next spring, and then you still have fall of your sophomore year, spring of your sophomore year. On top of that, not every freshman gets an internship, so like or does research, so they may not do the experiential learning in their second year of college, and that's perfectly fine. There's like a lot of people who don't get that done. Me personally, I took the experiential class for the internship reflection my junior year, so last spring. And just to mention, even though you're living in Prince Frederick for 2 years, that doesn't mean you have to complete everything in 2 years as well. So just pace it out to however you need to take it.
An important note about what Emmanuel said is that you do need to take HACS 100, 101, and 200 in that sequential order. So 100 in fall of your first year, 101 in spring of your first year, and 200 in fall of your second year at UMD. Those are pretty standard in that order. The other courses have some flexibility, so you can move things around, but it's really important that you do those in order. All right. What is the most difficult thing about ACES?
I would say the most difficult thing about ACES is just it's a little bit of a learning curve at first. At least me personally, I didn't come in with any knowledge of Unix or Linux, which is what ACES works with primarily. It's like bash scripting. And I had no idea what that was. I had only done Java, and even then it was like one class. So I didn't come in with a lot of experience. Um, and so it was a little hard to just get that first leg up on that first homework. But I realized very quickly that we have a very strong community or a sense of community because we are a living learning program. And all along the way, I had my friends to help me understand concepts that I maybe struggled on, or like someone was always there in the lounge to talk to. And that helped me get through everything.
All right. What types of tools have you all evaluated or used maybe as a part of the ACES program?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah. So the question is, what types of tools have you evaluated? I'll also include like what types of tools have you used as you complete your ACES coursework?
Well, we get incredibly comfortable with using the terminal, for one. But we also have Ubuntu machines, Ubuntu containers, and we work with Linux, Kali Linux, and some of our other classes. We get a little bit of an intro to Python just for like parsing scripts during statistical analysis and hacks 200. Um, and if you're lucky enough and get into Professor Harry's class, he might teach you a little bit about Tor as well. So.
Yeah, and adding on to that, I'm taking a ACES seminar right now in reverse engineering. It's a introduction to reverse engineering and how that works. And in that class, we do a lot of low-level programming, so a lot of C, C++, and we get really comfortable using disassemblers and decompilers, so like Ghidra, JADX, things along those lines. And those are like a lot of like really like industry standard tools that typical like security like specialists working within like cybersecurity will use. So you get very comfortable with using things that regular industry experts use.
I've also used a little bit of Wireshark in some of the ACES foundation courses.
All right. Do the skills learned in ACES, including Unix, translate well to general CS knowledge for CS majors?
Oh
Oh,
my
yeah,
gosh, yes.
100%.
Yeah.
A resounding yes.
Yeah. Actually, in fact, with ACES and with being really comfortable with Linux, that actually helps so much. One of the required courses that you take as a CS major is called CMSC 216. So, Introduction to Computer Systems. So you're doing a lot of like learning C, learning computer systems, computer architecture, kind of like that low level, how that all works. And when doing that, Linux is a like you work on university provided Linux machines to do like the vast majority of your assignments. And through ACES, like I'm not gonna lie, like my first semester, like the first couple of weeks felt like I was like learning the same thing twice. And that like really helped me to like solidify my understanding of what was going on in that class and also helped me to get a better grasp of like being able to navigate like the Linux terminal and like finish my assignments like pretty quickly.
And adding on to that, I found that I was also able to use the bash scripting and low-level programming that we learned in my internships as well. And that was really impressive to me.
So a decent amount of overlap and supportive skills between the ACES program and CS major. How would you describe the stress and workload of ACES?
Generally, I'm not gonna lie, there is a workload to ACES, because you have it's just a lot of new information that you might not have been exposed to. Like I said, I came in pretty inexperienced, and if you do come in inexperienced, there's a learning curve to it, and the workload matches that. Um, but you quickly get into a routine because there is so much structure to our ACES classes and you know exactly what's coming. So you can plan and prepare. And that's kind of how I handled my workload. And after a certain amount of time, it just becomes incredibly manageable. And you start to get better at, because all the skills build on top of each other. So once you learn the foundational ones, you'll be fine. It's smooth sailing.
To add on to that, it can be decent, but at the same time, managing that with your other classes is also important. So if you think something might be a bit too much on the ACES side, might take some general education credits that might be easier, and then vice versa.
So our next question is, what do you look for when accepting applicants who are not majoring in fields that are comp sci and cybersecurity related? I can maybe tackle this question. We are looking for folks that have interest and passion in cybersecurity, right? As I mentioned at the beginning, cybersecurity touches all fields, all people. There are intersections between almost anything that you would be majoring in and the cybersecurity workforce. And so really we're wanting to explore or invite folks who have an interest in learning that, who want to consider that further. Again, you don't need to be a CS major. You don't need to have a strong background in cybersecurity. You need to have a passion and an interest, as Cy mentioned earlier, in cyber, in ACES. And as long as you are excited to learn, that's kind of what we're looking for and hoping for. And that you'll be a good, positive member of our community, right? Hershey mentioned earlier that we have a great community in ACES of folks that help one another with that classwork, who are willing to share the things that they know with their peers. That's what we want, right? We want a great community of folks who are passionate about cyber. How selective is joining the ACES LLP? I saw that the Honors College preferences form had multiple options, so like chances of getting into ACES. I'll say this varies year to year. It is a smaller program. So again, we invite about 75 students per year to participate in the ACES program. And so as a smaller program, there definitely is some selectivity to that, but it really varies from year to year. So. How big is the class size of the HACS courses at the seminars?
They're pretty decent. There's about 30 students to each class for the seminars, which I really love because all my CS classes have like 200 people in those seminar rooms. But having a smaller class allows you to get more one-on-one time with the professors, and they get to know you a little bit better, which I personally enjoy. So.
Yeah, when it comes to seminars specifically, those are smaller than your ACES classes. So ACES classes are usually about like 20, 30 people. And then your seminars are somewhere between like 10 and 15. And that's like really great because it's like really like it kind of like tailored to like your specific group, and you get to like dive much more in depth into like the particular topic that you're doing your seminar on, and learn a lot more than you would in like a typical like lecture hall or in like a typical like yeah, like CS class, I guess.
What I'll say is generally our smallest class is about 10 and our largest class is 42. So somewhere in between there. But I'd say like 20 to 30 is generally most common. How much emphasis is there on human psychology in the program? I think this one depends a little bit on which seminars you take and the information that you want to gain. Certainly, there's an acknowledgement that a lot of cybersecurity is related to human users, right? And we need to be thoughtful about that. And so psychology does come up in several of those seminar courses. I would say it's not currently the sole focus of any of them, but as you can imagine, policy implications have a human aspect, right? There's an incident handling course that has some human elements to it as well. And so there's certainly some pieces, I think, infused, though I wouldn't say it's the sole focus of any of the seminars. Do any of the ACES LLP credits count towards the ACES minor? They don't. There are two separate programs, but the foundation courses for the Living Learning program mean that you don't need to retake foundation courses for the ACES minor. So instead, you have to take one more elective so that you're still doing the 16 to 17 credits because you're getting out of some of those foundation courses, but they don't technically count towards the minor. So you would still have to do the 15 unique credits for the LLP, and then the 16 to 17 unique credits for the ACES minor, so that you can earn both of those credentials. So it shifts the way that you experience the curriculum for the ACES minor a little bit, but the credits themselves don't count towards the minor. Right. Are the non-technical classes writing heavy with a lot of papers?
I took one of the seminars in economics of cybersecurity. I would say it's not writing heavy. There is writing, but it was a reasonable amount. It was with a group. There was enough time to write the whole thing. And then we had some exams, but like they were reasonable as well. So nothing to be like afraid of overall.
Yeah, I agree with Emmanuel. I took a cybersecurity and policy class, which was not very technical at all. I don't think we did any type of coding. Um, but it wasn't very writing heavy. We had a couple of discussion posts that were due every week, but it was a lot of seminar based. Like we were talking to each other a lot more than we were writing essays or anything like that. And even if we did, they were very concise.
Do the honors LLP foundation hacks classes include non-honors LLP students as well? This is a quick one. The answer is no. All of the students in your ACES courses are in the ACES program. Our courses are exclusive to students in the ACES program, and our LLP courses are exclusive to students in the Living Learning program. So you'll get to know the other folks in the program pretty well, and you'll see them in classes. And again, take those foundation classes with your cohort. You should not expect any non-ACES students to be in those classes. All right. What percentage of students secure internships as members of ACES? This is an interesting question because not all students want to complete internships. Certainly there is many, I would say, of our students do internships and want internships, but some of our students are really interested in the research aspect, and so they pursue that as their experiential learning opportunity. Somewhere between 54 and 63% of our students in their first year into second year like do an internship in that summer. So I'd say more than you would see elsewhere on campus, and potentially even more than that number would suggest. For students doing double majors in addition to being part of the ACES program, is that overwhelming?
I can answer that question. I'm in like two business majors, but I would say if you plan it, not necessarily. Like again, as we mentioned, the seminars meet some general education requirements. And then depending on how many credits you come in with and what general education credits those cover, you may not be doing your major classes, like the actual like upper major classes until maybe your junior year. So it's possible to manage it all, but I would say to like at least your second semester freshman year, if not earlier, try to like have a plan of what you want to do and then try to follow that as much as possible. But obviously you may have to adapt a little bit here and there.
Yeah, just adding on to that. It's definitely very doable. It's not hard, and like it's very not very, but I'd say it's fairly common amongst like ACES students to do a double major, or if not a double major, at least like a major and a minor. So like you have a lot of other people who are like planning on doing similar-ish things. So that really helps with like in terms of like planning out what courses you want to take and what you want to do. And also, there are many majors which have overlap with each other. And so because of that, like it kind of like it might seem like a lot like, oh, I'm doing a double major, but like in fact the number of courses are like lower. Like for example, with CS and math, your first 2 years, the courses that you take are like almost exactly the same across both majors. And so because of that, that like helps with not having like it like helps reduce like the overall amount of course load that you have to take.
Okay. A question about interest in other areas like AI. Are there options to reduce the cybersecurity emphasis and take on work and classes in other areas? Um, I guess the shortest answer to this one is we are the advanced cybersecurity experience for students. So our coursework does focus around cybersecurity. You cannot change like ACES courses out for other courses at the university to focus on other areas, though I do think there's a case to be made that many of those classes tie into potential other areas as well. And so through the curriculum, I think you will be exposed to some of those other interest areas, but our focus, like I said, is cybersecurity. Do y'all think that that's a fair assessment? Head nods. All right. Is it possible to study abroad while doing ACES? We generally wouldn't recommend it until you've gone through at least the foundation courses, but Hershey, you might have a perspective here.
Um, so I was gonna say that even though like you might not be able to study abroad like while you're completing your ACES classes, there is still a chance for you to complete study abroad before you graduate. I have a lot of friends actually that are going to Spain. And some of them are like some of my best friends. So even I think I was also considering doing either Spain or maybe even Korea, but we'll see.
Yeah, many ACES students do go on to study abroad, maybe in their junior year or senior year, or sometimes if you've completed your LLP coursework in the spring of their sophomore year. Many students have done like a winter study abroad program as well. So there definitely are options to study abroad, but you would need to complete those foundation courses with your cohort in that sequential order we talked about earlier. So it wouldn't be possible to study abroad until you've completed those foundation courses. Right. What is reverse engineering?
Okay, yeah. So reverse engineering is the process of looking at something, whether it's software or hardware, and like kind of taking it apart to learn more about how it works and kind of like understand the mechanisms behind it. This is actually used in a lot of different cases for a lot of different things. One real world example that I can give is when Microsoft first released its Word document format. It was a Microsoft exclusive format, and so if you wanted to use a different like you couldn't use a different program to like use like Microsoft Word documents. Like you had to use Microsoft Office. But then a bunch of companies were like, hey, we want to support this because if we support Microsoft Word, then we'll get more business. So they kind of like took apart Microsoft's like uh document format, figured out like how it works, and then rebuilt like support into their own applications for the Microsoft Word format, which then well, A, it spread the popularity of the format because now you can use it in more areas, and B, it allowed more companies to support users doing it, which prevented users from being locked into having to only use Microsoft products. And then this eventually led to the proliferation of open formats. But anyways, long story short, it's just taking things apart and figuring out how they work. And in the reverse engineering seminar, we learn the techniques and tools that people use to do that.
Shout outside. That was a great and concise explanation. Can you all talk a little bit about what typical projects or assignments look like within the ACES program?
So I actually just completed the last required tax class, I guess. And so throughout my experience for like the past 2 years, we usually have weekly modules that are due on Sundays, and they include homework or just a quiz, but it's usually like two assignments a week, two or three.
Yeah, and a lot of them are structured so that you can work together with other people or use like online resources. So it's really like not that hard, I guess. Like it's pretty like I will say like I just like meet up with like a couple of friends on like the weekend and we can like work through them in like a Saturday afternoon or something. Like it's fairly straightforward to get through.
Right. What is something that you can say you really enjoyed or has been very useful to you?
I really enjoyed my cybersecurity and policy class because it was one of the first um, ACES classes that I had taken that didn't have such a technical focus. And I started to see how relevant cybersecurity was in other aspects of my life, especially when it comes to like policy and how cybersecurity laws that are made on maybe an upper level go down and influence citizens or like regular citizens and how it impacts your life directly, or potentially the international aspect of cybersecurity and how different countries um, handle the cyberspace and like deal in the same space. Um, and so that was really interesting for me to learn, and it was an enjoyable experience. It was a different perspective, at least.
Question, can I take Hacks 101, Hacks 200, and a Hacks 208 course all in the same semester? The short answer is no, because you need to take Hacks 101 before you take Hacks 200. So 100 in your first semester fall, 101 in your first year spring, and 200 in your sophomore year fall. So those are taken in that specific sequential order. Those Hacks 208 courses, though, you could definitely take alongside one of the foundation courses in any given semester that the course is offered. So you could take like a Hacks 101 and a Hacks 208 together, or Hacks 200 and a Hacks 208, but you couldn't take 101 and 200 at the same time. Great. And we are coming close to time. So I'm going to turn it over to you all to share one important thing, each of you, one thing that you think is really important for folks to know about ACES.
I think the most important thing about ACES is that we really are a community, and some of my closest friends are in ACES, and um, I don't know, it feels a little bit more like home than the rest of campus. So,
I'll add on, not only do you get to meet so many new people in ACES who like I probably would have never been able to meet otherwise, but you also get to do a lot of cool and interesting things that you don't typically get exposed to, whether you're just like a regular student at UMD or a like a typical like CS major in like a CS curriculum.
I would say take advantage of the professional aspects. I'd say ACES helps you think about certain things that you wouldn't have thought about, like when you're entering your first year of college, like professional photos, resumes, elevator pitches, that kind of thing. So take advantage of that if you can.
Um, yeah, going off of that, ACES has its own career fair, which I found was really helpful because I actually went to the career fair in my first semester, and that was the first career fair I ever went to. But because it was a lot smaller than the other career fairs that you see on campus, it was not intimidating to me, and I got the chance to talk to recruiters from different companies like Cisco Talos.
All right. So since we are close to our time, I know we didn't get to every question, but hopefully we touched on most things that folks were curious about. If there are folks that are out there in the world hoping to learn a little bit more about ACES, you can visit our website, aces.umd.edu. If you have specific questions about the Honors College or the preferencing process, honors.umd.edu. And any ACES specific questions, certainly welcome to our inbox, aces@umd.edu. We try to make it really easy on you. If you can remember the word ACES, you can find us on the internet. And we are happy to help, but it's been a pleasure spending some time with you all. Shout out to our amazing honors ambassadors, current ACES students. I appreciate y'all so much. Some true experts here with us tonight. And I will pass it back over to you, Chantel, to segue into whatever's next.
Thank you so much, Cassie. I appreciate it. So another thank you for Cassie and our honors ambassadors for taking time out to let you guys learn more about ACES. So again, this session is recorded, so you can expect to see it on the ACES page on our main website, honors.umd.edu, in the coming days. I will also be sending out a follow-up email to everyone, directing them to all of the info session recordings that are happening this week, so you have a chance to review them on your own time. Please don't forget to fill out your program preferencing form by the February 19th deadline. Remember that completing that form does not commit you to the university, but it does reserve your spot within honors if you decide to come to UMD. So it's very important for you to fill it out, even if you're not 100% sure if honors is something that you want to pursue. Again, should you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. I put all the information that Cassie just said, I put it in the chat. So hopefully you guys can notate that if you have any follow